Alright, so what you're seeing right now is a big 10 by 20 canopy tent with a bunch of lumber underneath it, a laptop, some tools, and a truck. And what we're doing today is beginning probably one of the biggest projects I've ever done on the channel so far, and that is I'm building a truck camper for the truck. One of the biggest advantages of having an 8-foot bed like this is you can have a fairly decent sized truck camper, so I figured why not. It's also a 3/4 ton, so it's going to be able to handle it pretty much no problem. So with all that being said, let's start putting things together. So got the saw down there ready to go, and on here I have some pictures of a 3D model that I made on Blender of this thing. I don't have the complete picture, but I do have this stuff. So anyways, I'm going to try to figure out how to zoom in on this thing, which is right here. So you can see all the measurements are on it and stuff like that. So I know exactly what to do with this thing. Otherwise I'd kind of be guessing, which we know when I guess, that's when bad things happen. So anyways, I have a bunch of different pictures of all the walls and stuff, so should be able to build this thing right here. So now I'm going to get the camera on the tripod, and we're gonna get going. I know the build location is a little bit irregular, but this is the best area I can do this in. Up by the house on the side of the garage where we usually do things, it's kind of slanted, and I just don't want to be thrown off by that. So this is nice flat ground down here. Some stuff everywhere, but should be fine. I'm just adding more stuff to the stuff. So there you go. So those boards laying across the ground are just skids to keep it up off the ground. So when it rains, which is another reason why I got this tent, so I can continue to work on it if it's raining and I'm not in the sun getting sunburned, and the skids are there so the ground, the wet ground, won't really affect the wood too much. So yeah, let's get going on this thing. There you go. First cut right there. Alright, so here's what I got so far. I had to, where's it at? Right here. This board was originally that sideboard right there. It's just too messed up. I don't know if the camera can capture it or not, but it's just too twisted to use. It must be a Lowe's board or something, I don't know. But got a nice one in there now. I should have went with 2 1/4 screws and not 2-inch. So if you're gonna do this, go with 2 1/4, not 2-inch screws. They're just basic deck screws. Other than that, should be plenty protected enough to last a long time on this thing. So there we go. The floor is done. Alright, we're now going vertical. So now I'm going to work on this wall over here. Now remember, this is the back of the camper that way. So we got 6 of these to do, these little 17-inch things. And when you're working with 2x2s, you have to pre-drill, otherwise you're going to split them. As you can see, I pre-drilled and it still split, though this split is not anything to be worried about. So I'm just going to roll with it. Alright, check it out. Basic shape of the stupid wall is done. Gonna add nailers and stuff to it once the whole thing is shaped up. I'm not worried about nailers right now. I'm going to add 2 more studs right there and right there, just for some extra strength on that wall, because that 32-inch gap is a little bit too much for my liking. These have to flex a little bit with bumpy roads, but that's going to be too much flex. So I'm going to add just 2 studs right there. Plus that's also a seating area, so I want to make sure nobody's going to fall through and you know, bust their shit on the ground or the bedside. So yeah, we're going to add 2 more there and worry about nailers later. As for this wall, going to be super easy. It's straight. Just imagine that. Okay, so you were wondering how I'd angle my screws. Just go about 3/4 of an inch up in the center. 45 degrees gets you smack in the center of that thing. And that works on 2x2s. I don't know about anything else. I'm not a huge math person. I just kind of accidentally figured that out, so I'm rolling with it. I'm just gonna say I totally knew that would happen. Alright, it's the next day, around 5, 6 o'clock. Got the other wall in. I'm gonna run up for dinner real quick and come back down here and continue to pick away at this thing, trying to figure out what I'm gonna do next. I should probably work on this back floor over here, because once we do that, it will help give these walls some rigidity back here as well, because there's some beams that come up from there. So yeah, I think that's what I'll do next. Alright, back from dinner, and I made a quick switch. I'm not doing the rear floor with 2x2s anymore. I'm doing it with 2x4s. I only did it for weight saving, but I mean, the difference between a 2x2 and 2x4 is so small. I don't think it's going to make a difference with such a small change like that. So man, it must have got windy at some point. I lifted the tent leg off the ground. Either that or I bumped it pretty bad. I don't know. Anyways, as this thing comes together, I'm starting to see what kind of space I have to deal with. That's a lot bigger than I had imagined it, which is nice. Because if I can cram a little porta pot right here, it's perfect little bathroom stall right in the corner there. It's nice. Not bad at all. Bring it out there a little bit, maybe, I don't know. You're still working with a very tight space. I mean, this thing's from the tip of the sleeper to this back wall, it's going to be 13 feet or 165 and a half, I think it was. So yeah, you got to really choose wisely where you want things. Alright, so these 2 boards are where the corners of the door will be. At least the rough opening of the door is 24 inches. So plenty of space for me to fit inside of it. And I don't know of anybody who actually makes a 24x72 door. There could be one out there, I don't know. But I haven't found one, and overall camper doors are extremely expensive. It's stupid how expensive those things are. We're talking $600-700 expensive, which I don't have that kind of budget. So I'm going to be making my own, and plus, why not? I have my own welder and know-how and everything on how to do things like that, so I might as well just do my own. So anyways, 24-inch rough opening. That gives me a lot more space over here than I thought I had originally. I'm wondering if I can fit a wet bathroom in this square. You might need to take the toilet out, but if I can get some plumbing right there and a shower head going that way, makes you think. Wonder if I can pull that off. Not quite ready to build the back walls yet, but I did add these 2x4s. They are there. They're permanent. I mainly did them now just to add some actual strength here. This is very strong now. So this wall was very kind of wobbly everywhere. And now it's not. Whoops, forgot to hit record. But I'm getting these boards up now. There's going to be a stationary window right here, 18 by 14. Again, stationary, it won't open because the truck window is going to be right there. And my truck in particular does not have the openable window, so no point in making an openable window on this thing. But I'm going to take this opportunity to show you guys something. And that is what happens when you pocket screw something. I don't know if that's the exact term, but when you angle a screw in like that, when you're tightening down the screw, you want to kind of set back away from your line a little bit, because when this thing starts sinking in, you'll notice, see how it shifted like that? Now it's right up against my line. So I compensated a little bit so the screw actually sunk into the wood and bit down onto it. So that's something to take note of if you're going to do this. I really wish I had 2 1/4-inch screws. I only have 2s. I might go back and replace some of these screws with longer ones, especially these 2x4 ones, because I had a small incident over there with the rear floor. It kind of pulled out a little bit, and now the integrity is compromised. So for that, I'm probably going to grab a bag of like 4 or even 5-inch screws and just like drill that right into that main beam right there, and that should make it plenty strong so it won't do that again. Could even put lag bolts in there, but we'll worry about this for now. Alright, got everything packed up underneath the tent. It's getting dark, the whippoorwills are out, the tree frogs and the toads are out, and they're all making their nightly noises, so basically means it's time to go. And it's not really fun being out here when it's pitch black. You kind of feel like you're being watched, so yeah, I'm gonna leave now. I'm somewhat happy with my progress today, but I would have liked to have gotten farther. However, trying to decide what I wanted to do for this back floor kind of held me up a little bit, but that's alright. It's kind of part of the game. So anyways, till tomorrow. Alright, it is now a week from the day I started. It's been a crazy week, between having some brake problems with the truck, which is all fixed now, the tent being killed in a windstorm. That's what's left of it over there. That happened on Tuesday, I think. I don't remember. Pretty sure it was Tuesday. It decided it wanted to become a kite, and the crappy stakes that they gave you with the tent were obviously not good enough, and it ripped right out of the ground. And it really wasn't even that windy either, so it was kind of pathetic that that happened. Definitely will not be buying another one of those again. That was like $150 just gone in 2 days. But we're back to it again. We're literally right where we left off with the 2 pieces of wood here and here. So anyways, I went and grabbed some more lumber from Menards. I don't think I'll need more 2x2s, but I grabbed some more just in case. Plus, I'll have plenty of other projects I can use this stuff on. That's junk. I didn't realize that when I picked it. Oh well, I guess. And I got 12 more 2x4s. That should be plenty for the rest of the framing. We should be able to actually finish the framing now. I'm gonna try to finish it today anyway. I don't know if I'll be able to, but anyways, let's not waste any time and get going on this thing. Alright, check it out. Looking really good. It's very sturdy this way, of course, but not so much that way. So we just have to be careful with this thing for a little bit until we can... That's a loon. I've never heard a loon around here before. Alright, I decided I'm going to just build the sidewalls right on top of the main structure like I did with that one. I was originally going to just build them off to the side and then put them on, but I think I'm gonna do it this way because I just don't want to risk damaging the wall or the thing itself. So I'm just gonna build them right on top of each other. That right there is one side wall done. Now we just have to do it again, which with the magic of editing happens in about 1 second. There we go, other wall's up. Of course, it did the exact same thing as the other one. Now we just need to either start working on the back walls here or the door wall, or we could even put the ceiling on now. I think I might wait on that though. Alright, now that the side walls are done, I'm working on the back wall where the door will be. There's our back wall. Doorway 24 by 72. As I marked down there when we were working on that rear floor. Alright, it is time to do the roof. So from this corner to that corner is 115.5, which is right on target for our blueprint. So that means we're at least kind of building this thing correctly. So hopefully that will kind of pull this up, because you see this is where it's cut and it does kind of sag down a little bit back here. I'm hoping once it screws up into that main beam, because that main beam will go from there to there. I'm hoping once I screw that in, it'll pull this up and give this floor even more support, because this floor really needs extra support because it hangs off like that. And this is where the tailgate would otherwise be, but since it comes out like that, these cables that hold my tailgate on would be in the way, because this one's all loose and stuff. That one's actually tight. The tailgate's a little bit messed up on this thing, but it still works. So this is the type of camper that you'll have to take off the tailgate for, unfortunately. It's just the way it is. And it actually comes out past the taillight there. That thing will have its own taillights on it because these are going to be blocked. So yeah, you kind of need taillights. So anyways, looking really good. I'm going to get the main joists on there, which are these guys, 2x4x10s. Got 2 of them just for this. So let's get to it. Alright, there is the main section of the roof, and I gotta call it quits because all my camera batteries are pretty much dead. I got about 7 minutes left on this one. The drill battery is pretty much dead, and the impact is almost dead. So we got a lot of progress done in this one day. This is the first full day I actually had to work on this thing, and it paid off big time. I'm very happy with the progress I made. Anyways, all we got to do now is get the sleeper on this thing and we'll have pretty much all the framing done other than doing all the nailers, but I'm going to do that off camera because that stuff's boring and you don't want to watch that. So alright, well, I guess whenever I get a chance to work on this again, we will start working on the sleeper, and then that will conclude this video. Alright, I'm almost out of time, and I forgot to hit record because I got so involved in the task at hand. But I am currently putting on the top side of the sleeper. I got 2 pieces of wood screwed up there to hold it while I try to clamp it to the other side. That way it stays up there when I'm trying to screw it. I had an audience earlier in the form of flightless birds, also known as turkeys, but they have since left. You can hear them in the distance still, but they're probably just laughing at me more than anything. I think these clamps are definitely one of the best purchases I made for this project. There we go. Just like that. That's much better. It doesn't quite line up because this is sagging down a little bit, but the clamps are holding it that way. It's not stressing out the screws too much. Although I did put like 20 in there, so either way, I just need to screw in that top one and somehow attach that to there. So, question is, how exactly do I do that? Don't quite have an answer yet. I'm thinking what I'm going to do. Oh, I don't know. I got to figure that out real quick. Alright, today's Tuesday. I'm on a bit of a time crunch again, but I'll record as much of this as I possibly can. So I'm going through a very minor redesign on the roof. I removed a couple of rafters. They'll go back up. Rafters, I don't think that's the right term for it, but joists, I guess. They'll go back on once I'm done with this, but right now I'm tying that board into the side of the roof. I'll do the same thing on that side, and that's going to hang on this with another 2x4 there, and the window will butt right up against that 2x4 to keep it somewhat to its original design. But that's going to give it way, way, way more strength that way. It's tying this whole thing into the main structure of the entire thing, so that's about as good as you can possibly get it. This down here will stay exactly the same because it's pretty much just going to rely on the roof, which is probably one of the strongest parts of this thing, to hold everything together, which should be plenty. Alright, there's the basic shape of the sleeper. I almost tripped on that anchor down there. All done. All the squares and the triangles are basically done on this thing, other than adding the 2x2s and stuff like that up there for the walls and the windows and everything. And I need to add the last roof joist thing up there as well, but I'll do that tomorrow. But yeah, it's all easy stuff from now on. All the shape is done. I don't need to, use all my brain power to try and think up of basic shapes anymore. So that's a nice thing. Anyways, like I said, all I need to do is add the wall stuff up here, and then after that it's just nailers, and I need to add the studs right there like I mentioned a long time ago. Though I need to figure out where I'm going to be putting stuff, because it's starting to become a little bit crucial on things like that. So it's just a matter of figuring out where they're going to go, which I really just don't quite know yet. Alright, this is the last wall that needs to go on this thing. I got the windows in earlier today. Today's been a day. But anyways, let's get this last wall on, and after that it's time for nailers. I put on these studs like I said I was going to, with 2x4s, and that is very strong now, which is good. Still trying to decide if I want to add more right here. I probably should, to be honest. So yeah, I'll probably do it. Anyways, let's get this wall on and technically officially call the framing done. There we go. Front wall is in, which means framing is done. This has been a process. There used to be nothing here. Now there's a big block of wood here. This thing is gonna look really, really good when it's done. I think I'm gonna add another stud right there. I don't see why I wouldn't. Looking awesome. Love it. Love it a lot. Nice and sturdy. Strong. I guess it's time to throw in those nailers, and after that, siding. It'll become a box.